Hi everyone, here's the Bibliography once again, and today, since quite a few people liked my reader's guide video on Infinite Jest, in which I gave you some discussion points, starting point for discussion on the book, today I'm going to film a similar video for another huge brick from 20th century American literature, Gravity's Rainbow by Thomas Pynchon. None of the ideas I'm going to discuss in this video are mine, not really. They all come from critical readings, books on Gravity's Rainbow, essays I've read throughout my career since I've studied Pynchon as a English major, both in my undergraduate and in my postgraduate career. In this video I'm going to discuss a few points on the book. I'm going to give you a small introduction, a brief introduction on the book, which is going to be the only spoiler-free part of this video. The rest of it is meant for people who have read Gravity's Rainbow and are looking to discuss it a bit. I'm going to talk about the pastiche, the kind of pastiche you find in the book. I'm going to talk about how Thomas Pynchon handles science in Gravity's Rainbow and in the rest of his books too, I say, and I'm going to talk about the structure, the perfectly circular structure of the book. Gravity's Rainbow is pretty much considered the most important, the most crucial work in American postmodernism. I first got interested in Gravity's Rainbow because I found an edition of it with not really a sticker, but with a quote on the cover that said it was the most important piece of fiction yet produced by any living writer or something like that. And if, like me, you like reading in this kind of passionate way, and you're like a quote like that, it's going to make you go like, oh my god, I have to read this thing. You take it as some kind of challenge. And Gravity's Rainbow is a challenge indeed. It's an incredibly difficult book. It's really complicated. It's crazy as fuck. At times it gets really disturbing. First time I read Gravity's Rainbow, I came up with this metaphor to describe the experience. It's not a really genius metaphor, but I think it still works, which is that like reading Gravity's Rainbow to me is like being trapped in a labyrinth, the walls of which are plastered with pornographic pictures. And they are not even the fun kind, they're the messed up kind of porn pictures. Gravity's Rainbow is as seminal as it gets, which sounds like kind of a pun and probably is. It's incredibly important for American postmodernism and late 20th century American literature in general. If you read studies of postmodernism like Brian McHale's, Linda Hutchins, Frederick Jameson's, they all kind of talk about it, and it's kind of a sample case as far as everything that makes a book postmodern is concerned. If you're interested in this stuff, there's my video introduction on postmodernist fiction. It talks a bit about these theoretical approaches to the topic, but the important thing to say is I think that it's a fucking messed up book. And if you are not the kind of reader who gets turned on by stickers claiming a book it's incredibly important, you shouldn't feel this book at all. I know scholars of American literature, even contemporary American literature, who didn't like the book at all or didn't even manage to finish it, and I don't think they're bad scholars at all. I think they are better readers than me, actually. And I don't really think this is a book for everybody. In general, it's kind of a weird experience because it's really unpleasant at times and really difficult, but it can also be hilariously fun, and it really gets meaningful, it really gets deep once you get to the end. So it's not even the kind of book I can say, yeah, read the first 100, 200 pages and see how it goes. I think that once you get into it, you have to reach the end. It's a challenge, as I said, but it's one worth taking if you're passionate about these kind of things, like literature, experimental literature, weird literature, these kinds of things. Gravity's Rainbow, as I said, uses pastiche a lot, and pastiche is one of the quintessential ingredients of postmodernist literature. It means a mixture, a complete mixture of ingredients and style and registers and stuff, so much that Gravity's Rainbow sometimes is like this historical novel, borderline realist, that sometimes slides into fantasy, sometimes slides into pornography, sometimes becomes some kind of weird Hollywood musical or cheap B-movie with monsters and octopuses. My favorite part in the book probably is the one where an intelligent octopus tries to kidnap a woman who is actually a spy. This is the kind of stuff you find all over the book, and it's the fun part of Gravity's Rainbow, really. And what all this pastiche means and achieves at the end is some kind of liberation, we might say. Gravity's Rainbow is a very bleak book about one of the worst moments moments in human history, really. It's set in Germany at the end of World War II, when like Nazi Germany was still sending V2 bombs and missiles to England. These vessels of destruction, which become a symbol of, well, later destruction. And at the same time you find all these comic moments, all this slapstick comedy, all these hilarious and silly moments, really, and in general all this like mixture of different styles and registers and stuff kinda is liberating, in that in Gravity's Rainbow you can actually talk about anything. Pynchon actually talks about anything. He breaks all kinds of barriers, and I think one of the main functions of pornography in the book is to break even that kind of moral censorship barrier. It's a kind of liberating experience, especially in a book with such a bleak topic, dealing with such a terrible issue as the quintessential perversion and violence of the human being. It pitches the liberation and extreme freedom of writing, of fiction, against the actual horror and terrible nature of the military-industrial complex, of war in general, of the masters of war. Gravity's Rainbow in this sense is a very political book, not as far as it ascribes to a certain view of the world, but as far as it criticizes evil stuff, which to me is a rather pure definition of being political. And in general, you should try to read the most random, the most what the fuck moments as a point, as making a point against some kind of imposed order, both in literature and in the world at large. One of the other things that usually turned readers off is the way Pynchon handles science in the book. The book deals a lot with rockets, literal rocket science, with very complex engineering terms, with mathematics and physics and other stuff I don't get. And this is something Pynchon does a lot in other of his books. In most of his books, like in Against the Day, he talks a lot about theoretical mathematics from the 19th century. In Bleeding Edge, he talks a lot about business theory and about computer science. In general, he is fucking clever, definitely more than me, and it's kind of a pain to always get what he's getting at. What I'm going to tell you, because I know this can be really fucking annoying for many people, is that at the end of the day, once you go through the most complex passages, once you read through one or two long paragraphs about mathematical rules, you start getting Pynchon's points. Pynchon never uses science in itself as a point in itself. He always uses it in a very humanist way. I don't know how to express this. He always uses it to talk about very human, very comprehensible stuff. Against the Day's reflection on 19th century mathematics are about the way we perceive history, we perceive the time we have on this earth, and the way we can use it. Similarly enough, the science in Gravity's Rainbow is not there just to talk about rockets, it's there to talk about human experience, about very personal and very comprehensible feelings. The V2 is the key symbol of this world, because the V2 missile flies so fast that you, when you are its target, you explode before you can even hear it. The classical rules of Western philosophy of cause and effect are broken, because you actually experience something before you know its cause. It breaks the very basic concepts of thought we've had in Western civilization for centuries. This is one of the key topics in the book. Thinking of understanding at the end of the book, what I think is the best part of Gravity's Rainbow is its perfectly circular structure. Gravity's Rainbow is this book about World War II that begins with a bomb, a V2 missile from Germany exploding above a cinema in London. You have the explosion at the beginning of the book, but then once you reach the last 2 or 3 pages, you realize that what you have read throughout this book is not a book, it's a movie. You've been watching a movie and you are in a movie theater. But wait, hang on a minute, there is a missile above your head and it's about to go off. There's a V2 bomb. You're in that one theater in London. And you have just one last minute to do whatever you want. You have one last minute to experience love, to think about your life. One last second, really, one last instant, because you're about to go up in dust. And at the end of the book, Pynchon tells you should sing. You should sing along, and the book ends with this song and with the very significant words "all together now." And once you have finished this weird book, this weird experience, you're like, oh well, I'm glad it's over, and you close the book. But wait, hang on a minute, you haven't really escaped the world of the book, because there is still a bomb above your head, there is still a missile above your head. Gravity's Rainbow was published in 1973, one of the worst years in the Cold War, really. And in general, we are still living in that world in which at any moment there might be a bomb above our heads. Really, as far as we are concerned, it's already there, because once it's going to start, we maybe won't even notice it started, we'll just like go all together. So it really teaches something about the world you're living in, about the way you should handle and appreciate and react to the world you're living in throughout this beautiful metaphor and throughout the use of this brilliant metafictional device. To me, Gravity's Rainbow features by far the best use of the tools of postmodernist literature ever. Just for that, it deserves to be read by fans of fiction, of difficult, challenging, active fiction. It deserves to be read, and that last 2 or 3 pages are maybe my favorite in literature, and they justify all the trash the book is littered with. But this is meant to be a discussion video, so what about you? How did you react to those last few words altogether now? Did you react as it was something very sad and poignant and meaningful, or as some kind of one last joke altogether now, boom? How did you react to that? How did you react to the book in general? I know some people who really love Gravity's Rainbow viscerally, even too much to be like comprehensible. I know people who really hate the book. It's a weird book to me, really, because Pynchon might really be my favorite writer, but I'm definitely more into late Pynchon than his early novels like Gravity's Rainbow. Gravity's Rainbow, I'm so glad I read it. It's one of the most, as I said, meaningful and brilliant books I've ever read. At the same time, I'm not sure I'd ever want to reread it. I think I probably will at some point in my life if I carry on like studying American fiction. At the same time, it's really a weird experience. It's like a rule breaker as far as, you know, the way you think about literature is concerned. But I've talked enough, I think. What do you think about Gravity's Rainbow, about the points I've made in this video? Again, very important, all the books I've read about Gravity's Rainbow, all these thoughts I've unleashed upon you come from these books, which are quoted in the bibliography in the description box. Check it out if you want some further reading on this novel that definitely deserves to be like supported by some analysis, some critical analysis by actual English professors and stuff. Thank you so much for watching once again, guys. Let me know if you like this video and if you'd like me to film more like reader's guides of this sort and what books I should talk about in the comments below, of course. Thank you again, guys. Bye, guys.